Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, grab a drink as we talk some Wingman fantasy football. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 172, our Week 5's 2-point conversation. And unfortunately, I'm not able to welcome to the bar today Mr. Bernie, as we had a busy weekend and he was traveling and not able to join us today. But don't worry, we have a special guest who will join us a little bit later to help me with that 2-point conversation. All right, guys, in this show, we will start off with some player news. We'll go through the studs and duds for week number 5, and we'll also settle into that week 2-point conversation with our special guest, where we go through all of the week 5 action up to this point. And and we'll also take a look at some early waiver wire targets. But before we do any of that, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, let's get into the news and notes. Starting off with players who missed today's game, McCarthy missed his third consecutive game with a high ankle sprain for the Minnesota Vikings, making way for Carson Wentz to get the start once again. Dillon Gabriel got his first start of his NFL career in that same early morning game today for the Browns. Chuba Hubbard was inactive for the Sunday night's game, making way for Rico Dowdle to get the start. Oh, more on him a little later. Miles Sanders was inactive for the Dallas Cowboys for Week 5, paving way for the rookie Jaydon Blue to finally get his first NFL action of the season. CeeDee Lamb missed his second consecutive game as he nurses a high ankle sprain. Brock Bowers, we mentioned in that Sunday morning quickie that he was questionable, but that he kind of had a setback this week as he went from a full practice last week to limited on Wednesday of this week, and then a DNP on Thursday. I'm a little nervous for Brock Bowers going forward here. They have a bye in 2 more weeks. It's a long time to nurse an injury here, but I think he came back a little too quickly here, and he's not quite right. He's not going to heal unless take some time off. We'll see how the Raiders handle it, but don't be surprised if Brock Bowers misses another game or 2. This one really hurt for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson did end up missing Week 5. We thought it was going to happen, but it wasn't. He wasn't ruled out until, I think, either late Friday or Saturday, making way for Cooper Rush to get the start, and he had a tough day today. Darius Slayton left this week early with a hamstring injury. Mike Evans missed his second consecutive game with a hamstring injury. Kyler Murray left the game with a foot injury, missing a few plays. However, he did return. We're going to have to monitor that situation to see if Murray's availability is in jeopardy going forward. Keep in mind, the backup for Arizona is Jacoby Brissett, so there is only a game manager at best on the backup quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, who are having a tough go, especially as of late. This one might be big news. It might be something, might be nothing. We're going to have to find out here. Amarian Hampton was seen leaving the locker room wearing a walking boot on his left ankle. We are not sure at all his availability going forward. It might just be precautionary, as there wasn't a major incident on the field to notice. But keep that in mind, as they already without Najee Harris. We're probably going to mention this a couple times today. But with Najee Harris being gone, Kamani Vidal is the next man up. Not sure if he has the pedigree to take on this role, but just, with all these injuries here, we got to look for any players we can get out there. Also, Antonio Gibson left Sunday's game early with a knee injury. You'd think that would make more work for Trayvon Henderson, but no, the coaching staff for the Patriots just love them some Ramondre Stevenson. Regardless of how many times he fumbles, he just keeps getting the work. This one caught my attention. Again, might be nothing, might be something, might be nothing. Xavier Worthy is listed as questionable heading into the Monday night game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. At this point, Worthy is expected to play, so don't stress about it. But after playing last week and going into last week with no injury designation, I want you to proceed with some caution. Have a backup plan ready to go just in case he is labeled inactive or going to be limited going into this Monday night game. Have someone in the Jacksonville team and or the Chiefs to throw in there as an emergency play here. All right, and the 1972 Dolphins are toasting champagne as the last of the two undefeated teams both lost on Sunday as the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Broncos at home, and the Buffalo Bills lost to division rival the New England Patriots at home. So once again, cheers to you, 1972 Dolphins. All right, guys, now it's time to get into some studs and duds for week number 5.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Wingman Fantasy Football, studs and duds.
All right, guys, starting off with our studs for this week. Sam Darnold is no longer just a streamer. He's doing his Minnesota magic up in the Great Northwest for the Seattle Seahawks. Had 29.64 points. He got there with 341 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. And C.J. Stroud just needed some time in the pocket as he came through with a big day today. C.J. Stroud had 28.76 points as he had 244 passing yards, 30 rushing yards to help move the chains in the first half, and he also finished with 4 passing touchdowns. Hold my beer, says Dak Prescott, as he had 28.28 points at 237 passing yards, 38 rushing yards, and he too threw 4 passing touchdowns. Another quarterback to make this list from the Thursday night game, Matthew Stafford, back-to-back weeks, eclipsing the 27-point mark in terms of fantasy, had 27.56 points on 389 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. 389 passing yards, oh my goodness. Baker Mayfield, 26.66 points on 379 passing yards, 15 rushing yards, and threw 2 passing touchdowns. And Justin Fields. And a lot of garbage time. He did not look good in terms of gameplay, but fantasy's a different game. 25.92 points for Fields, who had 283 passing yards, 26 rushing yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. And this guy, this is the garbage man. Jake Browning had 25.14 points, a startable asset in terms of fantasy, but he had a rough go today as he threw tons of interceptions to start off the game. But he finished with 251 passing yards, 31 rushing yards, and 3 passing TDs. Keep in mind, we're using the Wingman Fantasy Football League scoring when we do this, and we don't take away negative points for interceptions, so your points might vary in your league. All right, moving along here. Finally, we have a player who's not a quarterback up here on this stud list. Christian McCaffrey, way back on Thursday night, had 23.9 points. He got there with 139 total yards on 8 receptions, and he got in the end zone as well. Jackson Smith-Njigba had 23.2 points on 132 receiving yards, 8 receptions, and he got in the end zone once as well. And one of our first backup running backs to step up this week in the with Bucky Irving being out. Oh, I didn't put him in the news there. I forgot to mention there, but we know Bucky Irving was out today. Rachaad White stepped up and got almost all of the work as Sean Tucker was nowhere to be found. Rachaad White had 21.1 points on 71 total yards, 4 receptions, but he scored 2 touchdowns. A.J. Barner, what? He had 20.8 points on 53 receiving yards, 7 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. Another tight end to make the list, Jake Ferguson, had 20.4 points. He had 49 receiving yards on 7 catches and 2 touchdowns. Our second tight end with 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle had 20 points even on 110 receiving yards, 6 catches, and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs and revenge watch here. His first game back in Buffalo had 19.6 points. And honestly, he was the engine of the offense today in terms of non-quarterbacks for the New England Patriots. 146 receiving yards on 10 receptions, including multiple big-time third down conversions. Deebo Samuel.
Who? Deebo.
Had 19.6 points on 96 receiving yards, 8 receptions. He's got in the end zone again. This is his 4th game out of 5 that he's had a receiving or a touchdown. Puka Nacua.
Hakuna Matata.
Puka Nacua had 19.5 points, 85 receiving yards, 10 receptions, and he got in the end zone once again. And random watch here, well, only because I'm upset because he's against me here. Rashid Shaheed had 19.4 points on 114 receiving yards on 4 catches, and he got in on a long touchdown bomb of about 88 yards to get him the big day. Theo Johnson, another tight end to make this list due to him getting in the end zone twice. Theo Johnson had 18.3 points, only 33 receiving yards on 6 catches, but when you score twice, you're going to be a stud. David Montgomery, star quarterback for the Detroit Lions. I'm kidding, of course. He had 17.72 yards. He got there with spreading the ball around all over the place. 71 total yards, not a lot, but he had 3 passing yards as he threw a touchdown pass today, and he also ran 1 in. Sam Laporta, another tight end to make the list at 17.7 points. He did it more on a traditional way here with 91 receiving yards on 5 catches, and he made it into the end zone. And Breece Hall still hasn't scored a touchdown this season, but his yardage is increasing every week as 17.5 points today. He had 165 total yards on 4 catches. Now for some kickers and defenses who had strong days today, including Blake Grupe had 15.8 points. He had 4 field goals, 2 extra points, and 1 field goal that was 50 yards or longer. Chase McLaughlin is a stud here in terms of late kick heroics. He had 13.5 points. He had 3 field goals, 3 extra points, and the game-winning kick at the buzzer for the Bucks. Joey Sly had a 0 last week. I think so, or darn near near it. Yes, they did. Yeah, shut out. So he had 0. But once again, he missed kicks again, with including a missed extra point. But he came through with the big kicks that mattered. 13.4 points for Joey Sly on 4 field goals, 2 extra points, and a 50-yard a kick that was longer than 50 yards, including the game winner at the buzzer to help the Titans get their first win of the season. Now for some defense who stepped up today, the New Orleans defense at 12.5 points had 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown due to one of those fumble recoveries. And the Indianapolis defense came through again with 12 points on 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, a blocked kick. Is that right? That's what I have here. 1 fourth down stop, and they held their opponents to under 7 points, which gave them 4 points bonus in our league. All right, guys, every yin has a yang. For every stud, there's a dud. Now it's time to see what players made the dud list for week number 5. Starting off with Cam Ward, who did play better, but without getting the touchdowns this week, wasn't much of a fantasy player here. 10.6 points for Cam Ward. Geno Smith, he is having a rough going in Las Vegas. 9.92 points for Geno Smith. Cooper Rush just can't get it done, at least in his first start this year for the Ravens. Only 7.16 points for Cooper Rush. Wan'Dale Robinson thought was going to step up for the missing Malik Neighbors, but he had a dud today at 5.7 points. Hunter Henry only had 5.6. DeAndre Hopkins at 5.6. Demarcus Robinson, is it worth putting him on here? I don't know, but I know a manager who picked him up and started him, and he had only 5.4 points. And Jacoby Myers had 5.2 points on the week this week. Give me a half second. All right, sorry, moving along here. We had Jacoby Myers also had only 5.2 points. Now, this one's surprising. James Cook had only 4.9 points today. Darius Slayton had to leave the game early today with an injury. He finished with only 4.6. RJ Harvey, hate to say it, man, you are the backup to J.K. Dobbins. No ifs, ands, or buts. Only 4.5 points for the rookie out of UCF. Chris Godwin only had 4.1 points in a high-scoring game, but he was not the major contributor. Travion Henderson, I keep waiting for this guy to break out. It is not happening. They are not giving the carries, even with Kedrick Bourne missing time. It is Ramondre Stevenson who has the stranglehold on the New England backfield. Travion Henderson at only 3.7 points. Mark Andrews could only get 3.2 points, and Marvin Mims fell back down to earth at 2.9. Alec Iomanner also had only 2.8. And even though we had a lot of big scores in terms of tight ends, this one did not. Juwan Johnson only had 2.7 points. Jerry the Judge Judy also a dud this week at 2.5 points. And Woody Marks, what are you doing after that huge game last week? Was a non-factor, only 2.4 points. And Malik Washington hasn't been a superstar, but with the absence now of Tyreek Hill, we were curious to see how he would step up his role. He only had 2 points and was a dud. Sean Tucker did not get as much work as we might thought, helping out Rachaad White. As Rachaad White was a stud, Sean Tucker was a dud at 1.8 points. And Jameson Williams, I thought they were going to have a chance to play around here and get him going. He is getting 1 catch for less than 10 yards every game, except game 1 this year. 1.5 points for Jameson Williams. LA Rams defense let our teams down, only got a sack in overtime to get 1 point this week. The Seattle defense only had 1 point this week, and the New York Jets defense only had 1 point this week. Jaydon Blue finally got on the field, but he was not a big contributor at all, as he had less than a point at 0.7, as Javonte Williams is a monster. And Chris Rodriguez also had only 0.7 points as well. Now for our Gooses, Zach Ertz. He's been a streaming tight end this week. He got 0 points. And the New York Giants and the Las Vegas defense both got 0 points. Before we get into our Mecha Studs, I think I skipped over a name when going over the studs. I don't want to lose the fact here that Kendrick Bourne, if I didn't say him, I'm saying it now, had 19.2 points in that Thursday night game, as he had 142 receiving yards on 10 receptions. All right, now time for our players who went nuclear this week. It is now time for our Mecha Studs.
Mega Studs.
All right, guys, the highest scoring player of the week. Oh my gosh, he was in my opponent's lineup this week, and I was dreading it the entire time. Rico Dowdle, 30.9 points on 234 total yards, 3 catches, and 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, what can I say? He has now surpassed, it was debatable before, but he is now the number 1 running back, in my opinion, here at 30.1 points, 86 total yards, 3 receptions, 3 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. And Kyren Williams
Release the Kraken.
had 29.1 points, as he had 131 total yards with 8 catches and 2 touchdowns on the Thursday night game. And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt must be over that lingering injury, as he dominated the backfield today for the Commanders. 28 points for the rookie, 150 total yards, 2 catches, and 2 touchdowns. And Mecca Abuka, it's a Mecca.
It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Emeka Egbuka was a stud today, a stud, 27.8 points in terms of fantasy on 163 receiving yards, 7 catches, and a huge touchdown. Javonte Williams, I've had this guy on my team the last 2 years. I knew he could do it, but he's finally getting the work, and he's been a superstar this year. Javonte Williams at 26.4 points had a career high in terms of his rushing output. He had 139 total yards with 1 catch and 2 touchdowns. And Jamar Chase, after a bumpy road the last few weeks, got on this list at 26 points. Jamar Chase had 110 receiving yards, 6 catches, and 2 touchdowns. And we have the Care Bear stare. Kaimi Fairbairn at 19.1 points.
Care Bears stare.
Kaimi Fairbairn stared his way to 3 field goals, 5 extra points, and 2 kicks that were longer than 50 yards. And Eddie Pinheiro for the San Francisco 49ers hit the game winner in overtime, had 17.7 points, as he had 3 field goals, 2 extra points, and 1 kick that was over 50 yards. Got a typo here, so I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 field goals. Nonetheless, so there's that. All right, guys, it is now time to get to our 2-point conversation for week number 5.
Is Jack Del Rio going to go for 2 here,
He's
Link?
going for 2.
The Raiders will go for 2 and the probable victory with 47 seconds left.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
As the
Wingman
Raiders
Fantasy
go for 2
Football's 2-point conversation.
And it's good! Oh my goodness!
All right, as you can see, I've got a special guest joining me right now for our 2-point conversation for week number 5. Before we get into the game's action, the theme for this weekend's games was undefeated teams fell, multiple tight ends scored multiple TDs, and now we know for sure who are the worst teams in the NFL. All right, let's break down some of these games for the Week 5 action, starting off with the Thursday night game as the San Francisco 49ers took on the LA Rams in LA, and this one ended up being a barn burner by the end as it went to overtime on Josh Carty's field goal at the end of regulation, sending to overtime, but the San Francisco 49ers held on behind the back here of Mac Jones, who was banged up a lot during the game, but I don't think he missed any snaps. Hit his old teammate from New England, Kendrick Bourne, had 10 catches and over 140 yards, and the San Francisco 49ers got the win. But the LA Rams did do some good things in terms of fantasy points here. Matthew Stafford was a top performer, as we mentioned in the studs and duds. Kyron Williams was also a stud in this game, Mecha Stud, actually, and Puka Nacua does what he does, getting 10 catches as well. Or is it 10 or 8 catches? I apologize. Anyway, going on to our next games, early morning on Sunday, we had the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cleveland Browns. This game took place in London at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Austin, what do you have on this game between the Vikings and the Browns?
The Browns were bouncing back and forth, and then eventually they took a lead late in the third quarter, and with 30 seconds left, Jordan Addison touchdown to take the lead, and obviously they get their extra point. And some stats: Carson Wentz, 25 completions, 34 attempts, 236 yards, and a touchdown. Jordan Mason, 13 rushes, 52 yards, 4.0 average. His longest rush was 14 yards, and he got a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 7 receptions, 123 yards, 17.6 average on his catching, and 38, it was his longest catch. Jordan Addison, 5 receptions, 41 yards, average was 8.2, his longest 15, and he got the game-winning touchdown. Dillon Gabriel, the rookie, 19 completions, 33 attempts, it was okay, 190 yards, which is good. 2 touchdowns was really good for the rookie, and that's all I have to say for that game.
So you were telling me before you thought this was going to be a blowout in favor of the Vikings. So you were a little surprised that this game was even close. And with a minute to go, the Browns still had the lead there. Rather,
Yep.
Were you surprised how close this game was and how well the Browns showed out?
Yeah, I actually was, because most of the time the Browns weren't doing very good. They got the win against the Packers, though. But, when you see the Baltimore game, they got blown out like crazy. And I just thought the same thing was going to happen with the Vikings, because they got Justin Jefferson on their team.
All right, moving on to our next game here with the Las Vegas Raiders heading over to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. There's not much to talk about here once again, as Geno Smith was a dud again. And Jonathan Taylor, oh my, 3 touchdowns this week. Daniel Jones was a game manager, did quite well whenever he needed to, but Jonathan Taylor was the story. One side note here, Adonai Mitchell, who's taking the place last week for Alec Pierce, who missed with a concussion. Alec Pierce missed once again, and Adonai Mitchell was put on the back burner as Ashton Doolin got more of the work and was a part of their offense today. All right, our next game on the docket here is the New York Giants heading over to the New Orleans Saints, and the home team, the Saints, got the win 26-14. I know you were watching this one closely. What do you have on this particular game?
Well, the Giants took an early lead. I'm pretty sure their tight end got 2 touchdowns pretty early, and they were up like 14-3 at one point. And Jackson Dart was running that ball a lot, and most of the time he would not slide. He would just get he'd get clamped in between 2 guys and just fall on the ground, and he'd get right back up and go for another snap. And most of the time he looked pretty good, and there's a lot of times where he just looked like he had no idea what he was doing. Then they should just put Russell Wilson on the field. And also Cam Scatterbo, he did okay, I thought, from what I was watching. He was rushing through some guys, breaking some tackles, and then also a lot of the time it looked like he was just getting knocked to the ground. But, I was watching, and I really thought that the Giants were going to keep up their reign with the touchdowns, and then the Saints just exploded, got like 3 touchdowns or something like that, and took the lead, and then I stopped watching.
Well, the turn here was, in no particular order, the Giants had a couple, if not more, fumbles. Jackson Dart had a fumble on a rush, and Cam Scatterbo had a horrible fumble that ended up being picked up and returned for a long touchdown for a defensive score for the New Orleans Saints. And also, Rashid Shaheed had an 87, 89-yard bomb touchdown. That's what started turning the game around. So the Giants were up in the first part of this game, but turnovers and big plays had the New Orleans Saints on a huge comeback, ended up winning by 12 points in the end. All right, our next game on the docket here was the Dallas Cowboys taking on the New York Jets in the Meadowlands here. And this game was pretty much a blowout. 37-22 was the final score in favor of Dallas, and it wasn't even that close as the Jets scored a touchdown late. Breece Hall was doing really good on the ground here, had over 113 yards rushing. I think had 150 yards total on the day, or 160 yards total on the day, somewhere around there. Justin Fields is looking overwhelmed, getting sacked and run around way too often. The Jets defense is not good. The Jets team is not good. They are awful. They are, I think they only 0-5 team now. I'm not sure, but they are definitely 0-5, and they look like it. They had that almost comeback win against the Tampa Bay Bucks, but every other game they've been getting destroyed. And Dak Prescott, he is doing well again. He's had a good day, filling up the stat sheet and filling out to multiple receivers, including George Pickens, and I'm not going to say his name right, the Foline. I don't have it up here, but he had a good day filling in there. It was not Jalen Tolbert getting the work. It was Foline who got the big catches today for Dallas. And Javonte Williams, how could I forget Javonte Williams? A huge day, a career high with 165 rushing yards, and he got in the end zone twice. Dallas Cowboys are starting to hit on all cylinders. A perfect fantasy team as they do well in the running game, the passing game, and the receiving game, and their defense stinks too, so they're going to have to put up some big numbers. Were you surprised how high of a score this was in terms of the Cowboys, and are you is it easy to say that the Jets are the worst team in the league?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're definitely the worst team in the league.
You think they're worse than the Dolphins?
Yes.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right,
they beat them.
Barely. All right, our next game on the list here is the Denver Broncos heading into the undefeated Super Bowl champs, Philadelphia Eagles. And it looked like Philadelphia was going to coast on this one. What do you have on this game, Austin, in this particular matchup here?
So the Philadelphia Eagles were up 17-3 for most of that game. Then going into like the fourth quarter, I mean, if the Philadelphia Eagles made a toy, it would definitely have a choking hazard on that. I mean, like, they didn't score at all for the rest of the game. And the Denver Broncos just destroyed them for that whole half. I mean, like, Bo Nix passing to Evan Engram for down the middle for 11-yard touchdown. And they got the 2-point conversion to take the lead, and then they just get the field goal. And then, holy, Jalen Hurts, what were you doing at the end? I mean, some of his throws are looking promising, and then they just didn't get completed, though. So I will give him props. Most of the throws did look promising, but yeah, that's all I have to say for the game-wise. For the stats-wise, though, Jalen Hurts, 23 completions and 38 attempts with 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 6 rushes, 30 yards, 5 yards average. Devontae Smith, 8 receptions, 114 yards. His longest reception was 52 yards. Bo Nix, he had 24 completions, 39 attempts, 242 yards, 1 touchdown. Let's also go to Evan Engram. Oh, sorry. Cortland Sutton. Sorry if I said that wrong. 8 receptions, 99 yards. His longest was 34 yards, and that's all I have to say for that game.
Well, we noticed here that Saquon Barkley didn't have a great rushing day, but he had a great over-the-shoulder long touchdown. So he did get it in the end zone with 58 yards receiving, and he had a 47-yard touchdown catch. So Saquon Barkley saved his day in the receiving game. And this is one of those odd games where Jalen Hurts didn't get a lot of rushing yards. He only had 3 rushing yards today and no rushing touchdowns. So Jalen Hurts was forced to throw, which usually would give A.J. Brown the script for him to have a big game. But as he was shadowed by Patrick Surtain, the script was not enough to overcome the tough matchup for A.J. Brown. Once again, only 5 catches for 43 yards. All right, our next game, that's a big game here. We have the Philadelphia Eagles lost, so they're no longer undefeated. So that's why that's a big game there. And the Denver won that game on the road as well. Our next game on the docket here is the Miami Dolphins heading to Carolina, thinking they had an easy matchup after that game against the Jets. Maybe Carolina's not as bad as the Jets. What do you have on this game, Austin? I know you were yelling and cursing up a storm here.
Well, Dolphins, they took another 17-3 lead, I'm pretty sure, if I remember. So they're 17-3 going into the second half. And then we did not score until late into the fourth quarter. It was like 17-20, if I'm not mistaken. And then we throw a kind of underthrown pass to Jalen Waddle. Doesn't matter. He was wide open anyway. Gets the touchdown. First touchdown of the game. Darren Waller was doing pretty good that game. He got a touchdown. So did Devon Achane. He got a receiving touchdown, not a rushing one. I did not like how much their rushing game was going. 225 rushing yards. I just remember that because that's how mad I was at watching that, seeing that stat pop up. The Dolphins had 19 rushing yards versus 225. We could not tackle those guys for anything. And I think a main reason we lost is mostly because we were missing Tyreek Hill. We had to adjust with Jalen Waddle being the number one. And also, during the end, we were getting some bad calls. Bad. I mean, there was a pass interference where our player was nowhere near him. Like, he was at least 5 yards away from him, and they called a pass interference, and it was, like, for, like, scraping, like, the back of his, like, shoulder or something like that. And the thing is, Bryce Young, like, threw it out of bounds or something like that. He wasn't even trying to throw it to him. And there's a lot of holding, a lot of, like, illegal like tackles, and that was really annoying. And I think mostly during the end, it was Dolphins versus refs at that point.
Wow, yeah, the Dolphins, they got up to a nice lead. The touchdown by Achane was an awesome over-the-shoulder catch in the back of the end zone, doing a toe tap to get that second foot down as he was falling out of bounds. And then seeing they're going to coast with the win. And then Xavier Legette had a really nice catch, and it was a crazy throw by Bryce Young, who kind of threw to the open space, and the receiver outran the defensive back to kind of put his hands out around the receiver and catch it over here. So it was kind of interesting there how that worked out, and that's what started the comeback for the Panthers, as Rico Dowdle was effective all day, but he put the punishing on there. He had like 100 yards in the last quarter and a half, it seemed like, because he was doing good for the first half, but he became a superstar. Rico Dowdle was the man in that second half, and they completed the comeback in 27-24. Did the Dolphins have a chance to tie that game, take the lead at the end?
Yes. It was like fourth and like, I don't remember, like maybe 15, and they could have gone for it. They weren't, I want to say they weren't far away, but they might have been really far away. I don't remember. But if they could have went for it. There was only like 2 minutes left, so it was like you kind of gotta go for it. And they didn't go for it. They just punted it. So I guess they weren't in field goal range, obviously. But props to Minkah Fitzpatrick for his interception. Props to Bradley Chubb for that fumble he got. Props to the defense a little bit. And not props to the offensive line, sacking your own quarterback.
Oh yeah, if you can look that up, that's an embarrassing play there by the offensive line for the Dolphins.
I don't remember who it was. Oh man, our center though. He came in, he got beat by their defensive line, and instead of trying to block, he just runs into Tua Tagovailoa, knocking him to the ground. Yeah, he olayed the block, so the pass rusher went right by him, straight to Tua. Tua stepped up to avoid it. But as the blocker was trying to get back to the guy who he let go by, he ran right through Tua and took him down. So he let the guy go and then took down Tua right after. It's pretty embarrassing. So the way I'm looking at this here, we said the Jets are the worst team here. The Dolphins beat the Jets. We're like, we know that we're better than them, but the Dolphins lost to Carolina. So are the Dolphins like the second or third worst team in the NFL? The Dolphins are better than Carolina. They just got a little bit lucky. But they lost to Carolina. How can they be better than Carolina? No, the Dolphins lost to the refs. Okay, all right. Hot take. I like it. All right, good job. All right, our next game on the docket here is the Houston Texans up against these guys are injured just like Nick's Waddle away. Baltimore Ravens. This one was a road game for the Texans, and man, this game was a blowout. The Houston Texans knocked out the Baltimore Ravens 44-10. You got knocked the fuck out, man. All right, so we have the Texans. C.J. Stroud was having a field day, had 4 touchdown passes. Was hitting, who did he hit? I don't have the stats in front. I do have the stats in front of me. Let me look that up. He hit a young player, Xavier Hutchinson, for 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins got a touchdown. Nick Chubb ran a 27-yard touchdown. The interesting thing here is that Woody Marks, after his monster performance last week, was out-carried by Nick Chubb. Maybe because they were up by so much, but Chubb was a little more effective. I did mention last game, before they turned the reins over to Woody Marks in that latter second half, that I thought Chubb looked better as a runner, but Woody Marks is definitely more versatile in terms of the passing game and other things you can do with him.
But in a game where they're winning, they don't have to be versatile. They don't have to be tricky. Just hand the ball off and run. And C.J. Stroud, with the time in the pocket, he's one of those quarterbacks. He's good when he has time. He's not good when he's pressured. The offensive line usually has a tough time protecting C.J. Stroud. But with the injury-ravaged Baltimore Ravens, they were able to protect him, and he was able to dice the ball all around the field. That's not really a phrase, dice the ball. But anyway, throw the ball wherever, dice up the defense, throw the ball at will. And this was a huge blowout, as now the Texans, who start off 0-3, have won 2 games in a row. All right, do you have any other thoughts on that game? Baltimore without Lamar Jackson, they're injured.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Were they missing Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews played. They're
He did
missing
play.
defensive players.
Yeah, I know
and
they're
Lamar
missing a lot
Jackson.
of defense, but I thought they were missing like a good 3 offensive players that were good. I know they're also missing Lamar Jackson. I feel like I heard they were missing more players on the offensive side, but I don't know. I feel like I heard that. I don't know if I actually did though.
And newsflash here, Baltimore's is now down to 1-4. These guys were Super Bowl predicted to be Super Bowl favorites in terms of making it there at least 1-4. They're on bye in 2 weeks, so you would think Lamar Jackson would miss the game to have an extra week to get healthy, but they can't lose any more games, so their season is going to be over. I'm a little nervous for Baltimore. Their division is weak enough that they can come back, but Pittsburgh on their bye week is looking down, saying, are we the best team in this division? I don't know. We have to see here. All right, let's move on to our next game. We have the Tennessee Titans up against the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals do what they do in every single game. Mm-hmm. They get up in the first half, and then they just stop scoring. Tennessee took this one 22-21 on a buzzer kick here, but for Joey Sly, who missed 2 or 3 kicks. He missed at least an extra point, missed a couple field goals last week. He's been on a cold streak, but he hit 2 field goals in the latter part of the fourth quarter to get it to a 2-point game, and then the last one at the buzzer to get into to take the 1-point lead. Cam Ward had a lot more time today. I mentioned before, I'm not saying he's good. He still didn't have a great fantasy day, but he's been getting hounded with the tough defense that they've been playing. And Arizona is a decent defense, but not one of those top 5-tier defenses. And he had with the time he had, he was hitting some timely throws in that fourth quarter, including a bomb down the sideline to Calvin Ridley to get him into field goal range, where they were able just to kneel the ball, use up the opponent's timeouts, and kick the kick at the buzzer as they saw fit. So Titans get their first win of the season. Cardinals, once again, they've lost 3 straight games at the buzzer. That is crazy.
Cam Ward threw an interception, right?
Huh?
Cam Ward had thrown an interception, right?
He probably did. I don't have the stats up here.
I'm sure he did. I feel like that fumble though, that was crazy.
Which fumble?
Where he got the interception fumble.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The touchdown that had the. That's right. Thanks for bringing that up. The oddest touchdown that helped the comeback effort here before the 2 field goals for Tennessee. Thank you. I did forget, but I remember now. They threw the ball. Cam Ward was rolling to the left. Threw the ball. The ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage, so it went astray. An interception from the defensive back for Arizona, which would have sealed the game. I don't know how much time was left. Let's just say 8 minutes, 9 minutes, somewhere in that range. And with that lead at that point was like a 9-point lead. At interception would have sealed the deal. But the intercepting defensive back, as he went to the ground, fumbled the ball. The ball got kicked around by more Cardinals than Titans. And then Tyler Lockett fell on the ball in the end zone to get a offensive fumble recovery touchdown. So no passing touchdown there. So, yeah, one of the touchdowns, thanks for reminding me.
You don't see those a lot.
You don't see those a lot. Where the team, it's a turnover and then a turnover back and ends up in a touchdown as a recovery. Crazy play. That's what started the comeback for Tennessee. We had Kyler Murray leave the game with a foot injury, had to be checked out for a little bit, did come back in to finish the game, but he looked shell-shocked, immobile, and not ready. He kind of loses focus sometimes, and that injury kind of took his focus, I think. Also, Amari DiMercato, oh my gosh, he did the Adonai Mitchell from last week, had an 81-yard run or a 70-plus yard run, was going to be a touchdown. And
he dropped it.
I didn't see the replay. I heard the recount, but essentially as he went to stretch the ball out or get across the end zone, let the ball go, another out of the end zone touchback, no score. It would have been a 75-yard touchdown run, and again, they would have put their lead up. They were up by 14 points early in this game. They would have been up by 21 points or more and could have coasted. But once again, the Cardinals can only get to about that 22 to 24 points, and they just stopped scoring in the second half. Can you believe the Tennessee Titans had their first win of the season?
No. Didn't think this would actually happen.
And Arizona, I don't know. They're the opposite. They're the opposite of the Bucs. They lose every game at the buzzer.
Well, I do think that the Arizona Cardinals have a shot of being a okay team. I feel like they're a pretty balanced team. They have they're okay defense, okay offense. They could do some good things, but lately they have not been doing good things.
All right, on to our next game here. Oh my gosh, this was a wild one, back and forth. We have the Tampa Bay Bucks heading up to the Great Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks on this one. This was a crazy game. Let's see. Let's go back a little bit. There's a lot of scoring. This one was 38-35 in favor of the Bucks for the third time this year. They won the game at the buzzer after being this one they were tied. They took the lead on a field goal here. So let's see. Tampa Bay went up early on a 13-0 score, and from there we had a 14 unanswered points by the Seattle Seahawks, making it 14-13 early in the second half. And let's see, they just traded back and forth. They did 21-14 Tampa Bay, then 21-21, 28-21 Tampa Bay, then 28-28. And then actually we had the Seattle Seahawks take a lead with 3.5 minutes left, 35-28. Then with a minute left, did the Tampa Bay Bucks tie the game 35-35. And as the Seattle Seahawks were trying to matriculate the ball down to get in the field goal range, they threw an interception, allowing the Tampa Bay Bucks to be already in field goal range, if not nearly in field goal range. And Chase McLaughlin's been a stud this year, honestly, as a kicker. Hit a buzzer 39-yard field goal to take this one down. Those cardiac Bucks, they need to have a more alliteration. Can we find a heartbeat Bucks? I don't know. Once again, we had, so Baker Mayfield is a stud. 29 for 33. Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
379 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rashad White filled in nicely for the injured Bucky Irving. He had 41 yards on the ground and 30 yards in the air, and he got in the end zone at least once. But Emeka Egbuka, this is
Give him the rookie of the year already. I mean,
rookie standout so far. 7 catches on 7 targets. He caught every pass thrown his way.
You know what's crazy? Like last year, I genuinely thought Tua was better than Baker Mayfield. Now nobody can say that.
No one can say that at all. And Emeka Egbuka caught. Hold on, we gotta do the sound drop. It sounds so good. Let's see. Oh, I know. I'll get it. I had the wrong.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
Emeka Egbuka caught 7 of 7 targets for 163 yards. K. Dotton chipped in with 81 yards himself. Kenneth Walker was very efficient, had 86 yards on 10 carries, but Charbonnet was the one to get in the end zone. Jackson Smith-Njigba, the other Ohio State, former Ohio State Buckeye receiver, had 132 yards on 8 receptions. He had a 53-yard bomb, and he got in the end zone as well. I don't know how Tampa Bay keeps doing this. Their only loss was at the buzzer on a blocked kick, and all their wins have been at the buzzer. And with under a minute to go, all their wins. So they're now 4-1 as well. Are you gonna start switching teams? Switch Florida teams? You're gonna start going for Tampa Bay?
No. That's the thing about when you're a sportsman. You got to stay loyal.
Oh, all right. Learning young, my man. Stay loyal even they're losing. But
Because,
you asked
like
today,
you said before,
go
when you do win, it's gonna feel a lot better.
if you stick with a team during the hard times, when they actually get there, if they get there, you feel like you are part of it and you earned it. Because if you just bounce from winning team to winning team, it doesn't feel the same.
Like you're someone who's in Florida, has nothing to do with Philadelphia, and then you just like the Eagles, not a real fan.
Oh, you're calling out not real fans out there. Uh-oh.
I'm just saying, if you are from, like, I don't know, Minnesota, you didn't even know Philadelphia had a team. You weren't even associated with Philadelphia any part at all.
You better not have an Eagles hat. You better not have an Eagles hat.
Yeah, you better not be an Eagles fan just because they won the Super Bowl. Same thing, that goes for a lot of those Chiefs fans out there.
Oh my gosh!
Taylor Swift. That's a lot of the.
We have an Austin rant going on here, guys. Watch out! This guy's on
Chiefs
fire
fans out there. That's why we have a lot of Chiefs fans out there.
All right.
I'm not saying there aren't Chiefs fans, like real Chiefs fans, but there's a lot of fake ones just because of Taylor Swift.
All right. Okay. All right. Moving on to our next game here. We have Detroit Lions taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. This one was a high-scoring affair, 37-24 for the Bengals, and it wasn't even that close as the Bengals came back and scored a few garbage time touchdowns. Once again, Jake Browning is pretty bad, threw 3 interceptions again, but finished with a good fantasy day as in comeback mode the whole time. They have no one on their team to supplant him. Did have a couple of long touchdowns today to Jamar Chase, for example. T. Higgins caught a touchdown as well. Jared Goff is just takes care of the field here. He just spread the ball around to everyone but Jameson Williams. But all the passing touchdowns went to Sam Laporta today and all the tight ends. And also David Montgomery had a passing touchdown as well as running one in, I believe. I don't want the stats up here. I think he ran one in. Let me double check it. I have it right here. David Montgomery. There we go. He had 71 total yards. Yeah, he did score a touchdown, and he threw a passing touchdown. So a good day there for David Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs also had a good day. I think he got in the end zone as well. It was just a taking care of business win, another high-scoring affair for the Detroit Lions. And the Bengals are in trouble starting off 2-0. They had that grace period, but since Joe Burrow has been gone, they are now 0 and are they now?
They're 2-3.
So 2-3 total now, right? Yeah, they lost 3 in a row.
I will have to give props that doesn't matter what quarterback Jamar Chase has, he's still going to be able to catch that ball.
Yeah, nice. All right, let's move along to this game. This game was a bigger blowout than I expected here, although I kind of losing faith in
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, but the Chargers as a whole, they got such a hot start. Everyone's like MVP Herbert, and since then he's really slowed down.
When he lost to the Giants, he just lost another game. He went from 3-0 to 3-2 in 2 games.
Both losses to the NFC East. So this one, Washington won this one 27-10, and they dominated this one on the backs of welcome back, Jaydon Daniels. Welcome back. He came back with a strong day today as well. I don't have his stats up right in front of me, but I think he had over 250 yards and a couple touchdowns, give or take. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, man, we weren't sure how they're going to split the backfield, but he had all the work. Chris Rodriguez is nowhere to be found. Krosky-Merritt had over 113 yards, and he got in the end zone as well. Like we mentioned, Herbert had a very ho-hum day. Did throw the 1 touchdown pass to Lad McConkey, who finally got in the end zone. I think that's his first of the season. Marion Hampton, I didn't see it, the injury when it happened, but he did leave the game here. We mentioned in the news in a walking boot. Keep an eye on this, guys. They've already lost their primary backup in Najee Harris. Is Kamani Vidal going to be an asset going forward, at least in the short week? It's going to all depend on those news reports. But keep that in your head. Get ahead of it here with all these running backs starting to go down. We saw Rico Dowdle did in a backup role today for Chuba Hubbard. So those backup guys on some good teams or good matchups, have a chance to do well today. So we don't have the stats up here, and we didn't watch too much of this game. But what do you think about Washington after getting was it 2 losses in a row? I think at least they lost last week. With Jaydon Daniels back, they got back into their winning ways.
Oh yeah, I definitely will give props to Washington. What was it? Was it last year they went 11-6? Was that last year?
They made the playoffs last year. So
yeah, they are a good team, especially with last year was rookie for Jaydon Daniels. He was a rookie last year. Was he starting? Was he like starting for them, or did
he started the whole year for them except for the games he missed with injury?
Props to Jaydon Daniels. He's definitely going to be a very good quarterback in the future. Justin Herbert, lock in, bro. Chargers, lock in.
I'm a Justin Herbert fan, but I also realize his limitations. It's just crazy how hot he was, how they were like, he finally got his coaches, his scheme, all this stuff. He's going to be MVP, and he's gone right back to where he has.
Yeah. Guess what?
180 yards.
Chargers, you're playing Dolphins on next Sunday. Better not. If Madison Beer's not out of that game, you're going down. Going down.
That's a bold call right there. This is a get-right day for the Chargers.
They lost to the Giants, okay?
Dolphins lost to the Panthers.
Giants lost to the Saints.
I don't know where else to go. Okay. All right. Our last game was our Sunday night game that just concluded here. This was a good game, a low-scoring, back-and-forth, well-controlled game here. We had we had the New England Patriots heading up to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills there. And this game, like I said, went back and forth. I think it was let me pull up the stats here, actually. Let's see if I can do this quick enough. I hope so. Anyway, so we have sorry. All right. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure I got these numbers up here before we started going. So, yeah, there was no scoring until the very end of the first quarter in this game. So it was 0-0 all the way until 59 seconds left in the first, where the Patriots got on the board first with a field goal. Then the Buffalo Bills came back with their field goal. Then the Patriots scored a field goal. So at the end of halftime, it was 6-3 in favor of the Patriots. And that field goal going into the half was at the buzzer for the Patriots. So that ended up being a big play as they were clock managing there to get themselves an extra 3 points to take the lead at halftime, which ended up being a huge 3 points in terms of the final score. But then we have the Buffalo Bills coming in here, and they got a touchdown as Josh Allen passed to Curtis Samuel, take a 10-6 lead. But we have the Patriots answering back with Ramondre Stevenson getting his first of 2 touchdowns, taking a 13-10 lead. Then he got his second touchdown early in the fourth to take a 20-10 lead over the Bills. But now it's time for some Josh Allen magic through a couple nice plays down to Keon Coleman, including a touchdown to get it to 20-17 in favor of the Patriots at that time. And with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter here, we have a tie game with a Matt Prater 45-yard field goal, 20-20. And we had a couple of big-time stops as both teams touched the ball, I believe, here in that last 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. But it ended up the Patriots kicked a field goal, a 52-yard field goal with 20 seconds remaining at the end, towards the end of the game here, to take a lead. And with a nice kickoff by the rookie Borregales, got it down to the 2-yard line. So the Bills had to field the kick, had to run it back. And with that 20 seconds on the clock before the kick, ran off 12 seconds running around an awful play there by the kick returner, wasting all that time and only getting a few yards. Only left one play for Josh Allen to try and do something special there with some sort of lateral combination. I think it was an incomplete pass. They kind of pretend they caught it, but everyone kind of went on the field because the clock went down regardless if it was caught or not. So the Patriots with a big upset here. Buffalo Bills, our last undefeated team, is now also gone. So both Buffalo and the Eagles lost this week. They both were at home as well, now that I think about it. And I mentioned going into this game, I like Drake May a lot. He had a great day. We'll get into some of the stats.
That reminds me. Yeah. I got to say this because not enough people are saying it. Drake May is a superstar. He is a insanely good quarterback. And I feel like not enough people are saying that. I just wanted to point that out real quick.
So in terms of fantasy, it was not a good day for Drake May because he didn't have any touchdowns, as both the touchdowns were rushing ones by Ramondre Stevenson, but he was 22 for 30, 273 yards, and was in control of a lot of those time management drives, including a huge stiff arm where a sack would have been detrimental. Held on, how Baker Mayfield did last year, holding on for dear life as a 400-pound guy trying to drag him down, throwing it as he's falling to get a huge first down to Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs in a revenge game, his first game back into Buffalo, not his first game against Buffalo since leaving, but his first game in Buffalo since leaving, had a huge day today. He had 10 catches for over 140 yards, and including that big catch on the drag down by May to keep that last drive alive. Let's see. Josh Allen had a good day as well. 22. Both these guys actually were the same. 22 for 30 for May, 22 for 31 for Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 253 yards. He did throw 2 touchdown passes. He also had 53 yards rushing. But James Cook, for the first time this season, had a dud with only 49 rushing yards. Dalton Kincaid was a leading receiver for the Bills at 108 yards. I don't think you watched too much of this game, but what do you think about the Bills falling to the New England Patriots? New England Patriots are showing they are a contender in the East.
Before I say anything, I love their Buffalo Bills rivalry jerseys, that like snowy white. I just want to say that real quick. Buffalo Bills thought you guys were going to be the best team in the league. Started off 4-0, and obviously just lost that game. But who did they beat? Ravens. Yes, that Ravens game, first game of this for them. That was insane. I remember watching like the last 5 minutes of that. That's not a lot of time, but when I saw that comeback against the Ravens first game, I immediately thought like, oh my gosh, this team. I feel like at least you guys are going 13-4, and obviously you still can do that, but you just lost a game early in the season. If you keep doing stuff like that, this is not going to be good for you. But it's just the one loss, so you have a lot of time to bring your record back. But the thing is, with the Ravens, it's like you're already 1-4. You could still go like 13-4, but you lost a lot of games early, which is not good, obviously. But because like even like the years before, you've been going. The Ravens have been losing a couple games, but still have insanely good records. But it's like they're a good team for sure. You guys I could see them possibly, if they stay healthy, going 13-4. But it's just like there's a lot of time to get injured and a lot of time to not make the playoffs.
Yeah, I hear you. There's a lot of time left, but a good start for the Bills. But this is more of a statement game, in my opinion, in terms of the New England Patriots showing they can play with the big boys here. And yeah, in my opinion, here it's we know what time it is.
It's gonna be May.
All right, so that's the end of our 2-point conversation. Let's get into some early waiver wire thoughts here. There's not a lot of big name players here, but there's some guys who caught my attention. Cam Ward's been on the dud list every week this season, but he played a lot better, especially when he had some time in the pocket. We mentioned it I don't know what his ceiling is. It's not very high. But in terms of who's available for next week with these buys, they're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's another team he might have a little more time in the pocket. Although, as I say that, Max Crosby is salivating for a chance to get after Cam Ward here. So maybe not. Again, these aren't great picks, but just guys who caught my attention. Dillon Gabriel did a really good job managing the game today. His completion percentage wasn't great, but having no interceptions is a pretty important thing here. And they're playing against Pittsburgh, whose defense has been improving steps by steps as the season's gone along. But nonetheless, they have given up some big-time performances from some mediocre teams, including Justin Fields and the Jets. I'm trying to think of a couple other ones that had some higher scoring games against Pittsburgh. In terms of the running backs here, again, we saw what the backup running backs could do today as they got some time. We mentioned Rico Dowdle, for example. Obviously, that was a huge one there. But I don't know the severity of the injury for Marion Hampton. I don't know, but keep an eye on it. With Najee Harris out, as we mentioned, Kamani Vidal is the next man up if Hampton cannot go. And Austin was talking trash about it, but the way I look at it, the Chargers are playing Miami. We just saw what Rico Dowdle did against Miami. Just think of what another running back could do. Amari Hampton is an automatic start, but if he can't play, Kamani Vidal.
Think about what our running back can do. Devon Achane.
All right. Is a sneaky play here. I'll do one more, and then I'll ask your thoughts on these guys real quick, Austin. We got Raheem Mostert. He's been the backup the last 2 weeks. There's been no Zamir White. He's been on the field. Definitely not getting the carries behind Ashton Genty. He's doing some spell work. But I have to say, watch him. He looks like he has for the last 3 years, getting chunk plays, looking as good as you can expect for the 32-year-old backup.
Definitely.
If Genty misses any time, I think you can play Raheem Mostert with confidence. I think he's similar to Genty in that he can always break long runs, and he's strong enough to go through the go through the pile a little bit. Not as shifty as Genty at this stage of his career, but I think he's a quality backup. All right, what do you think about some of these guys here? If you're in a pinch, if you need some help, obviously you've got some injuries here. Cam Ward, that's tough. Dillon Gabriel, those are both tough. What do you think about? I'll let you talk about the running backs more, as these are people going against the Dolphins and an ex-Dolphin. What do you think about Kamani Vidal? What he might be able to do if he gets a chance to play against the Dolphins?
Well, he's not getting anything. That's for sure.
Oh, you're just gonna shut the door right off the bat?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I hope.
Your folly. All right. What about
Wait, I want to take that back. He's not gonna get more than
Rico Dowdle did 125 or 200 yards.
No, he's not gonna get more than 75 yards.
Okay, all right, that's the call here. That's even if he's the main guy. Raheem
If
Mostert,
he's the main guy.
Raheem Mostert. I've been a fan of Mostert his whole career.
Oh, yeah,
here.
definitely. But I think, if they focus more on him, he can do good things. But he's a little bit older, so they might not lean on him as much, just simply because he's older. But being older doesn't mean he's not good. So, and even if they're not going to play him as much, he can at least teach the younger guys what to do.
Yeah, these are just emergency handcuffs to get ahead of it. These aren't people you're picking up to play, or these are people you're picking up in case the worst thing happens to their starter. You get a head start on the next high-priced acquisition. All right, for some receivers here, Dallas Goedert just keeps catching touchdowns. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They won't throw to A.J. Brown. At least Devontae Smith had over 100 yards. But they won't throw touchdowns to the receivers. They just like playing with the tight ends. So he's still out there. I can't bank on his numbers here, but they seem to focus on him in that inside the 10. Xavier Legette, haven't been a fan. He's missed the last 2 games, but we mentioned before in that game against the Dolphins, had a huge, great catch to start the comeback here. Now to some kickers here. Daniel Carlson for the Raiders up against Tennessee. And Ryan Fitzgerald, I'm a little nervous. He's the Carolina kicker. We saw them get they don't score a lot of points, but they're playing Dallas. And even if Dallas is winning, they do give up some points. So there's a chance for some kicker points here for the Carolina kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald. I'd be pretty nervous to play the kicker for a low-scoring offense. But, again, that's a potential game that would be as good as any to put him in there. Now for some defenses to potentially pick up if you're in a pinch as well. We've got Dallas versus the Carolina Panthers. We see Bryce Young make mistakes all the time. There's always a chance for a pick 6 when you're playing Carolina. In Tennessee, their defense is fighting. Again, all these games they've been in have been low scoring. They just can't score. They're playing against Vegas. Geno Smith has been a turnover machine lately. So that's what I have for my early waiver wire thoughts. I'm not going to ask you about these kickers or defenses. That's not really worth here. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us and watching or listening to another episode of Wingman Fantasy Football, the league podcast. A great thanks for my sit-in co-host today, Austin F., as he's helping me as Bernie was not able to join us today as we've had a long weekend, both of us traveling in and out of town. So with that, don't worry, Bernie, your job's safe, although Austin did a great job today. I appreciate it. You can find our podcast and audio feeds on your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and the Odyssey app. Just search Wingman the League on those platforms, and we'll come to the top of your search. If you want to rate us, that would be much appreciated. 5 stars is always is preferred. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, you want to see the Austin's face, if you haven't noticed here, or not, maybe I'll blur it out. I'm not sure. Go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. When you head over there, guys, do me the favor, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment and let us know how we can improve. Also, on our Friday morning shows, when we do our previews, we pick the games that you, the audience, select. So let us know what games for week number 6 are the ones you want us to break down even more. All right, guys, with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Austin.
Bye.